Hello. I am a graphic designer, 9 to 5 throughout the week, working for a corporate company. Outside of that, I've obviously run my own children's educational business where I produce my own children's material in terms of books, puzzle, educational pieces. I'm a family man, I'm a father, I've got 2 children, married to a beautiful wife as well. So they keep me going, and that's me in 20 seconds. I mean, it was real simple. I became a parent and the resources that I was looking for at the time wasn't available. So my family's got a Caribbean background and I wanted to teach my children about the Caribbean background. And when I was online looking for the material, I just couldn't find anything. So I just thought, let me start with the real basics, A to Z, and spell out a few things in a Caribbean household. For example, you would have P is for planting, which is in the Caribbean household, everybody knows what planting is. Whereas in the schools, it might be P is for pole or P is for pig. Whereas I was just trying to teach my children the very basics of the Caribbean culture. That in a nutshell is why I kind of went into this avenue. And then I quickly saw that there was a need for these products in other households. Once somebody came over to my place, they said, hey, can I get a copy of the very first book that I made? And then from there, it just flew off. Everybody was interested. I then started going out into the markets as I did, and then ventured into stores. So I started getting products in physical stores, and we've sold thousands of units. But then balancing that with work has been the most challenging thing. Overall, it was basically me from a standpoint of view of being a father, giving back to my son at the time. And that was it. There was no real purpose to say, hey, I'm going to start a business out of this. It was just all natural. Mixed feelings, actually. On one hand, I'm like, this is really good because it's showing development, growth, what the future can be. But on the other side, it's quite scary because it's now starting to take people's job roles. People are now, on social media scrolling and they can't tell if something is AI or it's real. And that's the scary part. But in terms of, if you go back to like creative, I think it's somewhat good because it helps us as a extra tool to have rather than it completely doing all the work for you. So I'm kind of mixed between the two. I'm quite happy, but then I'm quite worried at the same time. If I had to say, it would be the original brands. Even though they are adjusting to AI themselves, but I think the original like Nike, Adidas, even McDonald's, those are the original brands that have been around for decades. But maybe because they've been around for so long, everybody knows their brands. But do they use AI? I'm pretty sure they do. 100%. Brands that have been around for years feel more human than the ones that are popping up now. So people can make a brand in 2 seconds using AI and that's it. So yes and no. Brands do feel human, but with the whole talk of AI, it's slowly going the other way. Yeah, you would question it. Because it's like, what are your intentions? What is the business? And if you're being flooded with AI ads or whatever it is, you don't know, okay, is there a real person behind this? Is there a real company behind this? Even when I go to buy products, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to a company that I've already been to before because I know there are real people behind that. And I know I can go somewhere and speak to someone. And that makes the big difference. Because you lost the human contact. It's as simple as that. You watch movies today and you can compare actors that have been acting for 20 plus years and what they used to do versus what they're doing now. A lot of CGI, AI is everywhere. And it's just like, you're not connected. So the connection is what's missing. So if there's a brand out there and we don't have that human connection, then I'm disconnected. So yeah, I don't see how they can then grow as a company. And I think you need that human connection, like globally. Yes, it's a treat. As an illustrator designer, it's definitely a treat because I get a brief today. I can jump into AI and give me some concepts, which is great. But then I can't just go in and then use those concepts and say, here you go, I've done the work. It won't work like that. So it's great that it's good that it can spit out some ideas and help you along the way. But at the end result, you're the one who still does those final touches to make it look human. So I think it's great on one hand, but then on the other side, I still do a lot of natural design work. I start from the very beginning, look for inspiration and start from scratch and then build up the idea. And 9 times out of 10, when I present the ideas back, most people go with the one that I've originally created, because I guess maybe there's more of a story to that route. I care more about this route, so I'm pouring more into it and people can see that visually. 2 different processes. One is, do you have enough time to sit down and illustrate a nice piece? So if you've got the time, fantastic. I much prefer going down that route because I get to explore and I get to share what I can create. And you're almost not thinking about the outside noise. You're just getting on with what's in front of you. Whereas AI, you've got to prompt it. And if it's not giving you the results, you have to keep prompting it. There's a lot more thinking involved. Oh, I need this. I want to change the background of this. So I'd much prefer going down the natural route. That's just my preference. But if you do have the time to do it, fantastic. But if you don't, that's where I guess AI is helpful because you can quickly type something up. It gives you some solutions, but then it's not yours. So like, what is the point? You walk away knowing I haven't done this, but I'm owning it. It's not yours, right? All the time. Like I would prompt it to give me what I want. It doesn't spit out the right information, so I just quit. I quit that and I just go and do what I need to do the way I know how to do it. But it does happen. But then it's a real test to find other AI platforms because some are better than others. And some give you really good results, but you have to pay for that subscription to get the best results. So it's like I'm paying for creative when I can do it myself, but I don't have the time to do it. We're in this industry where time is money. We need things tomorrow, but they want it to be great, but they don't want to pay the creative or give them enough time to do the great work. So I definitely get frustrated with AI at times. It doesn't give you the results sometimes. It's great to give you, again, bringing it back to ideas, but I would never use it as this is the final product, not at all. And then bringing it back to the products that I make for the kids, AI can't do that. I did that purely because it was the way I felt. Somebody reached out to me, right, earlier on in the year, and they said to me, I need some help putting out they've made their own books using AI, right? And they didn't tell me, but I could see it immediately that you've put this whole book together using AI, the illustration style, everything. I could see straight through it. But they wanted to use it as a platform to sell, make money. But, I mean, fair play. But I could see that as a consumer that this wasn't a genuine piece. So I was disconnected immediately. So yeah, I don't know. But AI is a tricky topic to discuss because I'm so 50-50. That's the most important part. It's like creating an album. You're making music. As an artist, you're not going to get AI to produce your whole album and be like, hey, this is I couldn't do that. I would feel like I've cheated the system or cheated the way of, it's just not true to myself. If you're holding up a piece of work knowing AI has produced it and you're saying this is my piece of work, surely there's no good feeling in that. I think it's super important that the creative should always be known as the owner of the piece of work or whatever it is. I think that's, super important because how can you then walk away knowing you didn't make the product? You have the creative thoughts in your mind. You're going to the machine, you're saying, this is what I want you to spit out. It's not the same process because you're making the machine do all the work. You've got the idea, which is fantastic, but you're going to the machine and saying, okay, this is what I want. And it gives you the results. You can't then own it because you're saying, I thought of the idea. The execution is the overall product. That is the final thing. Whereas if the computer's done that, how do you then say, okay, that's my piece of work? It's two different things. But I can understand why someone would say, my creative process, I've put it into AI. I can understand that, but I don't think they can then own that at the end because the machine has built it. It's going to be different. Like, I think already they're calling the next generation like AI babies, right? All these babies that are born, they're being born into AI. So they're not going to know another world than AI. Like, I have so many conversations with people, the younger generation, and they just use ChatGPT for everything. Any basic question, that's where they go into. Is it concerning? Yes. I don't know. Is it going to get to a point where it doesn't allow you to think as a human and it's just the machines are telling you what to do or how to think? Again, pros and cons. I think it's a good thing that they have this on their fingertips, but then I feel like too much information is a bad thing at the same time. So they're going to have to really figure out how to manage it. I mean, I grew up in a time where we didn't have AI. We didn't even have, the internet wasn't really a thing. I guess the good thing about it is that we've lived through that and now we're living through this era. We can compare the two, but the next generation won't have no comparison unless 50 years from now something else develops. My 2-year-old, I can see that she's with technology already. She's very she understands what it is. And that's maybe a reflection of what she can see at home, out and about, people on the trains. But my son is starting to understand AI. Like, he's watching things on TV, or he might be watching a movie, YouTube, and he can be like, oh, that's not real. Why isn't it real? So he's already seeing AI in its true form, and who knows, maybe in the future he might tap into that world and he might absolutely love it. But it is scary, the unknown. You don't know where it's gonna go. Not that I know of, but I do know there are other people that it's happened to. Working with, again, going back to the children's products, there are other brands that I obviously follow and see what they're up to. Their stories that, would you say, yeah, I would say it's AI, because there's other companies out there using AI to reproduce other people's work and then selling their products. But there's nothing that can be done to stop people from doing that. I do think the children's products that I've created, AI can't get involved with that because there's too much of a human touch around those products. Maybe in the corporate sector, like in that industry, it's easier to do. The work isn't so detailed, so it's easier to maybe replicate. But is that okay not to do? Like, are you allowed to go and copy someone else's work using AI? What are the limits? Nobody knows. AI uses whatever is online, right? Everyone else's ideas to then generate. So in a nutshell, it is using everyone else's work. That's exactly what it's doing. Are we then taking ownership of everyone else's work that's online? But even using AI to write emails, you can see it when you're reading it. This is not genuine, but this is where we're currently at. So 20 years from now, you're just going to be robots talking to robots. As a kid, it was simple. Now kids today have tablets and iPads, and that's what they do at home. But me growing up, I was so interested in drawing. Piece of paper, pencil, that was it. I used to watch cartoons and I used to draw them while I was watching the cartoon. And then I just kind of fell in love with that process without knowing at that age. And then fast forward, obviously 20 years plus later, I kind of just stuck within that field of illustration and design. So I still get to do the same thing I was doing as a kid. Yeah, I didn't know at the time that this is where it would take me, but that's how I got into it. I used to get awards for the illustrations that I did as a kid. I was too young to understand what was going on, but now looking back, there was definitely something there from a very young age. But now, today, unfortunately, I don't get the time to even sit and create things that I really, really want to create because of just life. But yeah, that's where it started as a kid. I didn't get any pushes to say, go in this direction, go and do that. There was none of that. It was just all on my own accord. I want to go and do this. Everyone was super supportive, but there was no other creatives in the immediate family. I've got other relatives who are obviously musicians, they're into music and everything like that, but not design. It was just unheard of. It wasn't a career path to go down. There was a moment on Instagram where I used to recreate scenarios from music artists. They might do a 20-minute live, and from that live, I would snip it maybe 10 seconds. I would illustrate it, animate it, and then I would send it back to them. And then these are the hopes of these people have millions of followers. What are the chances that I'm going to get through to them? And quite a few times I actually got through to them, and then they would use my work and then repost it on their platforms, which then drove a lot of traffic my way, and I got a lot of work from that. And then I tapped into quite a few reggae artists from Jamaica. And again, I would send them just a simple direct message, DM, say, hey, I've done this, have a look. And in my head, I was thinking, they're not going to look at this, but what's the chances? And quite a few times it actually got through. And then there's quite a few UK artists that I've tapped into as well, did a bit of work for them. So again, that's all just me being silly online, just creating quick animations and sending it back to them. So again, yeah, I think when you prompt it, unless you're very specific and you might say Asian, male, Sri Lankan, then it will give you what you want. But your initial prompts of a pilot flying to this country, it will definitely show up a white male, female. That's what it would do first. Unless you're very, very specific, it's not going to give you those results that you want. So even if you forget AI, you go on Shutterstock, Getty. If you type in a man at the desk working, drinking apple juice, it's not going to give you the different minorities. It will just always show up as a white, male, female. And that's the first few very pages. You might get to page 4 or 5, and then you see the difference. But that's not even AI. So you can only imagine what it is like when you are prompting AI, you're going to get the same results. It needs to be protected. Otherwise, it's happening now, right? It is taking people's jobs. So taking people's jobs, surely as a human race, we would need to be okay, that's a bit too far now. We've used too much AI. It's now taking people's jobs. So it's 100% important that we need to get behind it and say, okay, this is enough now. We can use it, but let's not use it to take other people's jobs. How do we approach that? How do we do that? It's already happening. How do we then control it to go back? Now, I don't think it's just in AI. I think it's in more sectors in the world, but in the creative field, 100% you're failing because you're putting people out of business and you're stopping people from being inspired and want to do and achieve things by having AI as a cheat code to get something quickly. So people are more focused on how quickly they can get something rather than I want something that is really nice, made by a human. Again, we're just in a world where we care about speed rather than quality. We want to know how quickly we can get something. Okay, can we get it tomorrow? Yes, if we can use AI to get it done, but it's not going to be our work as a collective. So I definitely think I think we could do better. But how do we approach that? Do we just remove AI? Of course we can't do that. Too many companies use it. So maybe we just need to do better in terms of inspiring other creators or having this kind of conversation. I think it's a starting point. I would say stick with your process, 100% stick with it. I would 100% say, you can definitely use AI, but don't use it as this is my final product. Use it as inspiration. I think that would be the main things. Keep going in their own direction and use AI as inspiration. That's the way I use it. I don't even think that is enough nowadays to just be an illustrator. It's not. You see online, you see the roles. There are very few illustrator roles. But that's why I tapped into graphic design, because I can do more than just illustrate. I can do everything else. But if I was solely being an illustrator, I think it'd be really difficult, especially with AI, because people are just writing the prompt, getting the results, and that's it. But what happens a lot of times, it happens time and time, I can tell you, it happens week after week. Someone will get an AI prompt, then they will send it to me and be like, hey, can you just update this? I don't like this section of it. Can you update these sections? And that's what I've been doing for a lot of time. Over the weekend, I'm just editing AI pictures. Yeah. But on the other side, you've got people who reach out that still want your process. Somebody messaged me yesterday saying, hey, they're going to produce their own children's nappies and children's, like the baby wipes. And they want me to come up with some concepts for it. And that's, again, there are people that's like, you know what, I'm going to pay you to do what you do. I trust in you, you get it done. So there are still people out there. But again, for the younger generation, they are definitely going straight to AI. I 100%. I absolutely think so. So going back to the products, again, the children's products, I had a meeting with a hospital earlier on in the year, and they were quite keen on getting the products into the hospital. And the only reason why they wanted to do that is because of my story that I told them. And then they saw the products and they was amazed by the products. And immediately they got the products into the hospital. And that was only because of the human connection that we had. That was it. So if it's like all AI generated, I think people just don't buy into it. So I think years down the line, I would definitely have a piece where someone will come along and really appreciate. Because I think AI is going to be used too much. And then people are going to be like, okay, I'm over this. Like, let's go back. Been a nice conversation. Yeah. Thank you.